Yo, what's up? JW Turn G, you know what it is. Hey, I'm gonna try to find something about prayer, you feel me? But I'm gonna read this one right here first about prayer. Jeremiah 29. I will listen to you. Okay, Jehovah promises to listen to our prayers. Alright. This is a big one for me because a lot of people pray. A lot of people pray. And a lot of people don't get answers. Right? And then, if you pray and don't get an answer, they be like, oh, well, you're just not looking in the way that God is telling you to, or he answered it and you didn't respond, or sometimes no answer is the answer, and it's like, yo, come on, chill, bruh, right? And then, let's say a prayer is answered, right? Let's say somebody was like praying for a job, they needed a job, and they leave the house to go to the barbershop, and they see a place is hiring, so they go apply and they get the job, okay. What proof of that is that it's from Jehovah God, versus you just happening to see it, or the only difference in saying that it's not from God is the fact that you had belief. You believed that you would get or you would find the job, right? Whether it was from Jehovah God, right? Or just you opening your eyes, being more attentive, you looking out. There's no way to differentiate, but you believed, right? But everybody says that it was from God if you get it, Jehovah God. Okay, anyway. It says, our God loves his faithful worshipers, so he will never ignore their prayers. All right, look, they coming off the bat with some strong-ass statements, right? And I ain't even really trying to talk shit like this, but I'm just being real, like for real, for real. If this is the case, Jehovah promises to listen to our prayer. Our God loves his faithful worshipers, so he will never ignore their prayers. What about all the people that do get their prayers ignored, right? Like the people that's really down to their last dollar or their last meal or whatever it is, and they don't got shit. And they praying their heart out, but nothing. Like, what about that? Let's see what they got to say. However, this does not mean that he will grant us all our requests. Okay, so he listens to them, but he doesn't grant them. All right, we have to wait until the new world. Man, what? Hold on. We may have to wait until the new world before we receive some of the things we ask for. Jehovah considers how our requests relate to his overall purpose. So, if a nigga trying to get a meal for dinner, I gotta wait? Like, wait, what? So the new world, that's paradise, right? Like, in some of the other videos, I'll be saying how to Jehovah's Witnesses, their whole thing is about getting to paradise. That's the goal. That's the main mission. That's the goal for everybody, to live in paradise, right? And there's a lot of things that are supposed to happen between now and then. First off, not only has everybody been waiting for this new world for fucking ever, many people have died waiting for this new world. Many people teach their kids, and their kids have died waiting for this new world, right? So nobody has this new world that they're, I'm doing air quotes here, that this new world. That's crazy. It says Jehovah considers how our requests relate to his overall purpose. My nigga, I'm just trying to eat. Feel me? I'm just trying to pay these bills. Like, what? Part of that purpose includes filling the earth with men and women who are joyfully united under his rulership. But Satan claims that humans would be better off ruling themselves. To prove that the devil's claim is a lie, Jehovah has allowed humans to govern themselves. Yet humans' rule has caused many of the problems we face today. So as the creator of the universe, you created everything. Why do you feel you gotta prove anything if this is the truth, if this is the case? You created everything. You don't gotta prove shit. You're him. We understand that Jehovah will not remove all these problems at this time. The fuck, man? What is this article? Will Jehovah answer my prayers? I might just do that one then. Because that's where this comes from. Fuck it. Let's just look at that one then. Okay. This is crazy, yo. Alright, look, we gonna start off. I'm gonna read, what can we expect from Jehovah? Okay, let me see what this is talking about real quick. You know what? Fuck it. God damn it. I'm gonna just read all of this. Okay. Find exquisite delight in Jehovah, and he will grant you the desires of your heart. What an amazing promise. But should we expect Jehovah to give us everything we ask for right away? We might ask that question. Consider the following scenarios. A single sister prays about attending the school for kingdom evangelizers. But several years go by, and she has not been invited. A young brother asks Jehovah to be relieved of a debilitating disease so that he can serve in the congregation more fully. But his health does not improve. Christian parents pray that their child will stay in the truth, but their child decides to stop serving Jehovah. Okay? Perhaps you too have asked Jehovah for something, but you have not received it. As a result, you may conclude that Jehovah answers some prayers, but not yours. Is there any other, like, if you're a reasonable person, is there any other explanation if that's the case? Like, a single sister prays about attending the school for kingdom evangelizers, but several years go by and she has not been invited. Okay, so for them years, your prayer wasn't answered. That's just what it is, whether you get in there or not. And then if years go by, right, you still consider your prayer being answered, or did you just happen to get in? Did it just line up for you to get in, or are you still going to base that on that prayer you said years ago? Or you may reason that you must have done something wrong. A sister named Janice felt that way. Some names have been changed. She and her husband prayed about their desire to serve at Bethel. She says, I was convinced that we would be at Bethel in no time, but months turned into years, and the couple had still not been invited. Janice says, I felt sad and confused. I wondered what I had done to disappoint Jehovah. I had prayed so specifically for his direction. Why had he not answered my prayer? At times, we may wonder if Jehovah is listening to our prayers. Even some faithful men of old had that concern. What can convince you that Jehovah will respond to your prayers? To help answer that question, we will first answer the following. What can we expect from Jehovah? What does Jehovah expect from us? Why may we need to adjust some of our requests? Wow, okay. My nigga, if I'm praying because I ain't got no food and I just want to eat, there ain't shit I need to adjust. Right? Like, that's just what it is. I know what I need. But they got you convinced that you don't know as much as Jehovah God knows. So whatever he says, whether you get that meal or not, it's up for him to decide that. Jehovah promises to listen to our prayers. Is this what we just read? Our God loves his faithful worshipers, so he will never ignore our prayers. That's a crazy statement. However, this does not mean that he will grant us all our requests, meaning I have to wait. Okay, yeah, that's what I just read. Part of that purpose includes filling the earth with men and women. Oh, I read this. That was the daily text. Okay. Jehovah may respond to similar requests in different ways. For example, when King Hezekiah was extremely sick, he begged Jehovah to help him recover. In response, Jehovah healed him. On the other hand, when the Apostle Paul pleaded with Jehovah to remove his thorn in his flesh, possibly a physical ailment, Jehovah did not remove the problem. Okay. Consider also the example of the Apostle James and Peter. They both faced certain death at the hands of King Herod. The congregation prayed for Peter and likely for James too. However, James was put to death, while Peter was miraculously rescued. We may wonder, why did Jehovah save Peter but not James? The Bible does not say. Man, what the fuck? So how do you justify that? If that's what happened, how do you justify it? The Bible doesn't say, well, wouldn't it? Why would it not? What can we be sure of is that Jehovah's ways are never unjust. And that's how they just convince themselves that whatever happens, because Jehovah's ways are never unjust. Okay, and we know that both Peter and James had Jehovah's approval. At times, we may be faced with an outcome we did not expect. But because we trust that Jehovah's answer to our prayers will always be loving and just, we do not question the way he chooses to answer us. Man, we do not question. My nigga, like, whose life is it? Is it not my life? Like, to be able to live like this is crazy because you're constantly going to be in a need of want that's outside of yourself. You're not going to think you could do anything. You're going to constantly think whenever you have to do something, you have to go outside of yourself to do anything, right? Humans have a brain. Humans are pretty smart. Humans have done some extraordinary things. And if motherfuckers would tap in, they don't want you to know how powerful you really are, right? So they tell you all of this shit to break you down as a human, as an individual, unless you have Jehovah God with you. Then you're unstoppable. And even then, your prayer still might not be answered. Oh, man. We try to avoid comparing our situation with that of others. For instance, we may ask Jehovah to help us in a specific way, but our request is not granted. Later, we learn that someone else made a similar request, and Jehovah seemed to have granted it. A sister named Anna had that experience. She prayed that her husband Matthew might recover from cancer. At the same time, two elderly Christian sisters were battling cancer. Anna prayed intensely for Matthew and for the sisters. The sisters recovered, but Matthew passed away. So he died. At first, Anna wondered if the sisters got well because Jehovah intervened. And if so, why did he not answer her prayers that her husband got better? Of course, we cannot say why those sisters recovered. We do not know what we do know is that Jehovah has a permanent solution for all suffering, and he longs to resurrect his friends who have died. Why would you let your friends die? If you had the power and you had friends, would you sit there and watch them die? Especially something like this. This was a wife that watched her husband die from cancer. So that's probably a long, slow, painful process, right? If the world was set up to where everybody died at 100, okay. You know, because now you know once you get 98 or 99, it's probably your time. So you can prepare, and it happens to everybody, so it's cool. But the fact that people go through shit like this, not that it's cool, but you know, but the fact that people go through like this, like she had to watch her husband die from cancer, right? And she prayed, that prayer didn't get answered. But the way that they go back on that is, what we do know is that Jehovah has a permanent solution for all our suffering, and he longs to resurrect his friends who have died. So for that sister, that woman, what they're going to tell her is, well, you know, he's going to be resurrected in paradise, so you just stay the course and stay faithful to Jehovah, and you're going to see him again in that new world that we have to wait for. Oh, Jehovah will always support us. As for our loving Father, Jehovah does not like to see us in pain. Oh my God. Everybody's in pain, bro. The world is in pain. And they just said, as our loving Father, Jehovah does not like to see us in pain. Everybody is. Especially now. Especially now. 2025, my nigga, this shit is whack. And it's just gonna get worse. And it's just gonna be more pain. Still, he does not prevent all of our trials, which can be likened to rivers or flames. Wow, okay. However, he does promise to help us pass through them. And he will not allow our trials to cause us permanent harm. What? He will not allow our trials to cause us permanent harm? You know how... I ain't even got to explain that. Jehovah also gives us his powerful Holy Spirit to help us endure. As a result, we can be confident that we will always have exactly what we need in order to endure and to remain faithful to him. I feel like this type of thinking and this type of mindset just sets you up to fail, right? Like, it doesn't allow you to be the best version of yourself because you're constantly in a need of want. You're constantly in a need of asking for something, of not having, of asking to not have anything happen either, because you pray and put this shit into the hands of Jehovah and then just sit back and wait and just watch the shit crumble. Like it literally says, he does not prevent all our trials, which can be likened to rivers or flames. A river and some flames can do a lot of damage. Jehovah expects us to trust him. At times, our trials may seem insurmountable. We might even begin to doubt whether Jehovah will help us. But the Bible assures us that by God's power, we can scale a wall. Turning niggas into Spider-Man now? Okay, so instead of giving into our doubts, we should pray in full faith, trusting that Jehovah will answer our prayers. Jehovah expects us to act in harmony with our prayers. For example, a brother may ask Jehovah to help him get the time off from his secular work so that he can attend a regional convention. How might Jehovah answer that prayer? He might give the brother the courage he needs to approach his employer, but the brother will still need to follow through by making the request. He may need to ask repeatedly. He may even offer to trade shifts with another employee. And if necessary, he may offer to take time off without pay. Okay, first off, ain't nobody taking time off without pay for this. But if this is the case, Jehovah expects us to act in harmony with our prayers. Okay, so this brother prays that he can get some time off of work, right? Okay. It says he, meaning Jehovah, might give the brother courage, but he needs to approach his employer. He might have to follow through with the request. He might have to ask repeatedly. He might have to trade shifts. He might have to take time off without pay. How is that Jehovah God answering his prayer? That's just him doing what he has to do to get the time off. So my thing always was something like this, right? Okay. Who's to say, like let's say he gets the day off and he goes to the convention. Who's to say Jehovah did that for him? Or he just asked his boss, or he just traded a shift with somebody, or he was just like, yo, I'm going to take a day off without pay. What does that have to do with Jehovah? If he, like I said, if he hadn't took the action to do that, it wouldn't have happened. It's not like he's going to just say that prayer, sit back, and his boss is going to come up to him and be like, hey, I had this vision, and you know what, I'm going to give you Saturday off. Like, my nigga. Jehovah expects us to pray repeatedly. Oh, so we got to beg. Okay. Jesus implied that some of our requests would not be granted right away. So do not give up. Pray earnestly and repeatedly. When we continue praying about the matter, we show Jehovah that our request is not just a passing whim. We also demonstrate our faith in his ability to help us. If it's something that you really want, you're not even going to act like it's a passing whim. If it's something you want, if I'm praying and I'm like, man, let me get that car, I really need that car, I'm going to do what I need to do to get that car. Right? Regardless, I'm not just going to walk outside and open my hand and expect some car keys to fall into it. So what the fuck? We may need to adjust some of our requests. If we do not receive what we ask for in prayer, we might ask ourselves 3 questions. The first is, am I praying for the right thing? Man, often we think that we know what's best for us. See what I'm saying? Who would, if I don't know what's best for me, who would? Who else lives my 24 hours? Huh? But the thing we ask for may not benefit us in the long run. If we are praying about a problem, there may be a better solution to that problem than the one we're asking for. And some things we ask for may not be in harmony with Jehovah's will. Okay, so was that the case with old girl and her husband that had cancer? That it wasn't in Jehovah's will for her husband to live or to recover? You know what I mean? It's too much shit that goes on. It's too much shit that goes on in the world for this to be true. Like, they always want to say, oh, you got to put your faith in paradise and then wait for this to come and that to come and the things in this world is this and that. But it's like, I'm living this life now. This is my experience. Regardless of what's going on, I'm experiencing this. Everybody that's waiting on paradise is dead. For instance, consider the example of the parents mentioned earlier. They had asked Jehovah to keep their child in the truth. That seems like an appropriate request. Yet Jehovah will not force any of us to serve him. He wants us all, including our children, to choose to worship him. And he's not going to force the ones to live. I guess if you got cancer and you're dying, then, you know, because, I mean, how many times does that happen every day? How many people die from cancer every day versus how many people pray about it and recover? Because that's solid evidence, is it not? Am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. So the parents could instead ask Jehovah to help them reach their child's heart so that he will be moved to love Jehovah and become his friend. It's that child's decision, whether or not. You know what I mean? It's his decision whether he's going to do that or not. A second question, is it Jehovah's time to grant my request? We may feel that we need an immediate answer to our prayers. Really though, Jehovah knows the best time to help. When we do not receive what we ask for right away, we may think that Jehovah's answer is a no. But his answer could be in effect, not yet. So then communicate that. He can't communicate that? If that's the case, let me know. Right? Like, for example, think back to the young brother who prayed to be cured of his illness. If Jehovah had miraculously cured him, Satan could have argued that the brother continued serving Jehovah only because he had been healed. So, because of Satan, you're the creator. Are you worried about Satan? Man, if that's the case, this is crazy. Additionally, Jehovah has already set the time to cure all sickness, and until then, we cannot expect miraculous cures. So the brother could ask Jehovah to give him strength and the peace of mind to endure his illness and to continue serving God faithfully. That's crazy. Right? Like, I mean, I get it, because there's nothing else he can do. But my boy, why are there all these rules and stipulations on the prayer? This is supposed to be something that's individual, right? That you say in your heart to God, but you got to do all these things and wait, and it might not, and this and that. Like, what kind of provision is it? If it takes all of that, is it even really a provision? Or is it just something that they tell you in here just to keep you in a certain state? Recall the experience of Janice, who prayed about serving at Bethel. 5 years passed before she understood how Jehovah had answered her prayer. She says, Jehovah used that time to teach me and to refine me. You can say anything. 5 years? You wanted to go to Bethel, and you prayed for 5 years, and you say, Jehovah used that time to teach me and refine me. My trust in him needed to grow. My personal study habits needed to improve, and I needed to find inner joy, which is not dependent on my own circumstances. You can make up anything in that and say whatever, right? So this is kind of just, it's not really concrete evidence. It's just all assumptions and whatever you want to believe. Later, Janice and her husband were invited to serve in the circuit work. Looking back, Janice says, Jehovah did answer my prayers. Though not in the way I expected, it took me a while to see the beauty of his answer, but I am so grateful to have experienced his loving kindness. That sounds like a lot of manipulation, right? That sounds like a lot of manipulation. To ask something, not get it for 5 years, but then convince yourself that it's because in that 5 years you needed to do this and you needed to do that. That's all. You can always find a need to improve. A third question would be, should I be praying for something else? Although it is good to be specific in prayer, we may be able to discern what Jehovah's will is for us by making our request broader. Consider the example of a single sister who had been praying about attending the school for kingdom evangelizers. She wants to attend the school so that she can serve where the need is greater. So while continuing to pray to be invited to the school, she could also ask Jehovah to help her identify other opportunities to expand her ministry. Okay, let me just read it. Then she could act in harmony with that prayer by asking her circuit overseer if a nearby congregation has a need for more pioneers, or she could write to a branch office to ask about where there is a need for more kingdom publishers. It sounds like she's doing a lot, right? So is it really about the prayer, or is it about her just taking the action to do it? Because they just laid out a bunch of things that she can do. As we learn, we can be convinced that Jehovah will answer our prayers in a loving and just way. Sometimes we may not get the response we expect, but Jehovah will never ignore our prayers. I have a journal of prayers that got ignored. Because who are they praying to? He loves us very much, and he will never abandon us. Okay, so continue to trust in him at all times, pouring out your heart to him in prayer. And that's how they keep the people down. Religion is something else.